let us switch up the format. Let us switch up the format on this bright, on this bright, economically impoverished, pupil scorching day. This day is doing wonders for my genetic eye mutations. This day, the sun is doing great things for my genetic eye mutations. I sure am convinced there's a God out there.
Before you say anything about this war in Iran, you have to make one thing absolutely clear, and you have to understand this. Everything that is being said about this war is a lie. Everything being said by the administration, everything being reported by the press is a lie. And when I say a lie, I don't mean they're getting it wrong. I don't mean we're in the fog of war and we don't know everything. I don't mean they're fudging it. I don't mean it's politically biased. I mean the national security apparatus is manufacturing a calculated deception. Because that is...
I wholeheartedly believe that we are being given a lie by the media. I totally believe that the media benefits the status quo, and that does not necessarily involve telling people the truth. If you were asking me, given how prone people are to lying, given the lengths people will go to justify their odd behaviors, I am definitely convinced that that applies to everything, even what we are told about what is going on in quote unquote war. I don't even the thing is we pulled a Russia where this was not called a war, and then everyone started calling it a war anyway. They this a war, and now everyone's calling it a war, and it's weird. Why did Pete Hegseth declare victory in a war? I read a headline saying he declared victory in a war. This wasn't a war. Why did he declare victory? He was declaring victory in a war if this isn't a war. So that's part of the reason why it's easy for me to believe the notion that everything is a lie, especially given the release of the Diddlestein files. Given the release of the Diddlestein, I'm more inclined than ever to believe that everything that I am reading is a lie, and hearing. But I also don't care. I also don't care. That's another. I don't want to hear the I don't want to hear the Groiper archivist talk.
The information space is another domain of the war itself. So just like we engage in outer space, in the air, and at sea, and on the ground, we also engage in the information space. And everything, literally everything that has been said by the White House, by the Pentagon, and then reported in the press by anonymous sources that are planting these stories, all of these things are a part of an information campaign. And so when you hear the president announce something, you cannot take it at face value. And when you see the reports in the media, you can't take it at face value. And this is no different.
Yeah, a lot of this, a lot of this, like this was done at the behest of certain people within the private sector globally. This was like done on behalf. This was done for the profit of some people somewhere. I can almost 100% attest to that. This was done for the profit of someone somewhere, some kind of lobbyist, obviously. And it seems like these coordinated attempts through the media to spin a bullshit narrative are further attempts to manipulate the market. Now, all this means to me is that I'm going to be poor. I am infuriated regardless. See, the problem is that I'm infuriated regardless because this just means that I'm going to be poorer. This just means that I'm going to be poorer, and I was already born in one of the worst places to be born in the United States, which is Florida. Florida is one of the worst places to be born if you are a poor person in the United States. Whatever anyone else tells you is a lie. Whatever anyone else tells you is a lie. Florida is one of the worst places to be born in the United States if you are a poor person. And what this boils down to for me is that it is going to be even worse than it already is for people like me. So that's what this boils down to in the grand scheme of things for me, is that this is going to be even worse for me as a poor person.
yesterday Trump said that we to a 2-week ceasefire if Iran opens up the straits. He said, and this is the agreement which allows us not to put Iran back to the Stone Age. But wait a second. If you have a ceasefire, if you have a deal, then why is Trump saying we will stop bombing you if you open up the straits? That doesn't sound like you have an agreement. That doesn't sound like you have confirmation from Iran that they have agreed to the deal. And so that was contained in the very first announcement. And almost immediately after this announcement went out, there was a lot of debate about what this agreement actually entails. And let's talk about some of the...
Yeah, I definitely do not believe that this deal is going in our country's favor, honestly. I don't see I do not see Iran giving up their only leverage when I don't see Iran giving up their only leverage um, when it would cost us way more to force them to do what we're trying to force them to do. It would cost our country, I'm almost positive, by my guesstimates, by my best guesstimates, I would say that it would cost us a lot more to make Iran capitulate to our demands than it would for Iran would inflict very costly losses. Even if they lost, it would cost us a lot of money to the degree that it would be more like a Pyrrhic victory if we forced Iran to capitulate to our demands via military. If we forced Iran to capitulate to our demands via using our military, it would cost us a lot of money and resources. And it would cost Iran a lot less money in comparison to inflict costly damage on our military. So I don't see them giving up their only leverage. I don't see Iran giving up its only leverage in ceasefire talks. It wouldn't make any sense for them to actually reopen the Strait of Hormuz in ceasefire talks because they can cost us a lot of money in war and gain more sovereignty and influence by prolonging the war. That's just my opinion. When you live on my day. Who the hell is this? Okay, it looks like I'm good. Who the fuck is calling me on my cellular device? When you lift upon my dear. Okay. That's my audition for America's Got Talent. I'm throwing my hat in for America's Got Talent. I forgot to get a bottle of water out of the trunk of the vehicle. I forgot to get a bottle of water out of the trunk of the vehicle, which is an unfortunate situation for me to be in over here in the driver's seat of the vehicle, driving the car in the driver's seat of the vehicle. Here I am driving the vehicle in the driver's seat with no agua purificada. I'm waterless. I don't have any water. I'm driving the vehicle. It's hot outside. I don't have any water. I'm waterless. I'm driving the vehicle. It's the middle of the afternoon. I don't have any water. I'm crossing the intersection. It's dangerous. It's the middle of the day. There's a lot of cars out. And I'm waterless. I'm stuck in traffic. I'm convenient routeless. I don't have a convenient route. I'm driving down the main throughway. There's detours. People don't know there's detours. Now I gotta merge. Now I gotta risk getting hit again. This route is dangerous. I'm safe routeless. It's rush hour. I don't have any water. See what I did there? Do you see what I did there? Okay. Alright. 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 I'm a funny man. Laugh at my jokes. No one's laughing at my jokes. I'm laughless. People only laugh at me. No one laughs with me. I'm people laughing with me-less. I don't have anyone laughing with me. I'm making self-depreciating jokes. I'm non-self-depreciating jokeless. Alright. I'm poor. I don't have any money. I'm moneyless. Alright. Just carry on for 30 minutes like this. Just the whole way home. So I'm thinking about playing the video game Samson, but the problem is that I'm poor, I'm moneyless, and waterless. I'm driving home without a bottle of water to drink. My mouth is dry. I have dry mouth. I'm wet mouthless. Alright. It's the middle of the day. It's middle of the day rush hour traffic and I'm driving. I'm convenient routeless. I'm not taking the most convenient route during high traffic congestion. I'm low congestionless. My route is congested. I guess I should continue reacting to the news. Gonna give everyone my bright insights about current world events. Anthropic put out a new AI. Anthropic put out a new AI, and apparently it can do things that other AIs can't. And apparently, well, so the fuck. There's a term where you can do something to an AI to where it can't say no or something like that. And you could also, so if you take the leap in logic, if you get a really good local AI that cannot say no, that would be bad. And imagine if people have this Mythos AI and they were able to localize it somehow, and then you make it to where the AI can't say no. So the leap in logic is, or well, the logical conclusion, you know, the place your mind goes is that's bad news. That's bad news that we know about now. And Yeah. That's what the word on the street is about. That's the AI news segment. That's the AI news segment. That was the AI news. In other news, AI news. That was the AI news. AI news. That was the AI news. OpenAI won't pay for Sora anymore. Hello. OpenAI won't pay for Sora anymore. In other news, OpenAI won't pay for Sora anymore. And the PayPal Mafia took away my ability to use Sora AI. And all the other competing AIs just aren't as good. I'm waterless. I don't have any water. Also, they won't pay for me to use Sora AI anymore. Or you. No one can use Sora AI except for certain people that have premium access to ChatGPT, and they're throttling their access to that. Word on the street is that they're throttling the access to premium ChatGPT users in regards to even their ability to use Sora to generate videos. That was AI news. AI news. Fuck you. AI news. Go fuck yourself. No one watches my shit, but I do it anyway. That was the AI news and the word on the street about Sora AI. Bastards, assholes. Anyway, in other news. If you ask me about this hubbub in Iran,
Believe the deal ends.
Yeah, I mean, you just read the deals, and there's.
I don't want to hear this guy. So, yeah, I don't see. I believe everyone's logical conclusion is that the deal in Iran is not going to. I don't see Iran giving up their leverage when it is more costly to the United States if the war continues in all regards. So I don't see Iran giving up their only leverage. It would be some monumental feat of getting a country to agree to a tremendously bad deal for them, which has happened historically. Western countries have gotten people to agree to very unsavory deals before, but I don't see that happening now when it is very costly to us. We're almost in a Russia-esque situation. We are in a very Russia-esque situation in regards to the fact that it is more costly to us due to our outdated and very bloated militaries. Our militaries are very costly to operate due to them still being very reminiscent of Cold War era things, and the other militaries, while they're not better, they are cheaper to operate, and smaller and they cost less, and they can do damage. They can still do damage that is very expensive to our extremely expensive to operate military. So I don't see them giving up their only leverage under threat of us operating our very expensive to operate military, because that is to our own detriment, and that in a way puts us in a very Russia-esque situation where it would be extremely costly for us to do the war, and we're basically asking them to give their only leverage up under threat of us spending a lot of money to try to, I don't know. I don't see us actually committing war crimes. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. He's trying to act like war crimes are not off the table. And, you know, if war crimes aren't off the table, that's one thing. I mean, I'll give you that. That's one thing I've always said on social media that upset a lot of people, is that, you know, if we're going to do these wars, realistically, we need to be willing to commit, like, war crimes to win. You know, because with our very archaic and outdated military, in my opinion, I don't know if the military's hiding things from us, but if they're hiding things from us, they sure haven't rolled them out immediately in this Iran thing. So the lack of decisive movements against Iran would be alarming. If we have things that could decisively end the war that we're just not using, that's rather alarming. So either one of two things are happening. Either our military is very bloated and outdated, much like Russia's. Either one of two things are true. Either the way our military is structured and the way our military operates is very outdated, much like Russia, which leads to us being in a situation where we're like waning European powers of old, where at our own detriment, we're operating these old, archaic, bloated military structures that are just costing us money that will lead to our own demise, to unfruitful ends. That's option A. And option B is we have ways to decisively end the war in Iran swiftly and are not doing so. That's one of two. That's the two scenarios that I see.
It's also incumbent on a more comprehensive deal. Now, was not even a party to these negotiations. They were not even involved. They were not at the table. They were shut out of the process. And there's a lot of reporting out of it that they were blindsided by this and are very, very angry.
Yeah, early in the morning I was seeing all sorts of Israeli Twitter accounts pissed off, dude. I mean, obviously there's Mark Levin, the usual cohort, but I found this one Israeli account, one dude who was going off, he was going, I did not spend 40 days and 40 nights in a bunker just to have Persia win. They're really upset.
They say that it is furious. The Israeli opposition against Netanyahu in the Knesset is saying that for Netanyahu, this is a strategic disaster. And they're very unhappy that they were shut out, but they are reluctantly saying that they accept the terms that Trump negotiated. So this is how we see the deal, and this is what was announced last night. But like I said, what happened about 2 hours after the deal was announced is that it came out from Iran that they have a very different version of the deal. Iran came out and said that actually the United States agreed to their 10-point proposal. So the United States did not just agree to stop bombing them for 2 weeks. Iran says we agreed to this huge 10-point plan, which includes, among other things, the U.S. acknowledges their right to enrich uranium, that the U.S. is permanently giving them control over the strait to share revenue between Iran and Oman, that the U.S. has agreed to lift all primary and secondary sanctions.
I mean, the most ridiculous one is that the U.S. is going to withdraw all of its bases from the Middle East. I just do not see that happening whatsoever.
That the U.S. has agreed to withdraw 40,000 troops from the region and close all their military bases. And maybe most importantly, that agrees to a ceasefire with Hezbollah in Lebanon. Because there is a war raging simultaneously. You have your war in the Gulf, where the U.S. are bombing Iran,